Hi everyone, welcome to the Menu Mix with me, Matt Holy.
And me, George Wetz.
Each week we look at the menu from some of the different leading restaurant groups in the hospitality industry to reveal some of the secrets behind the psychology and the execution that goes behind their menu design.
So this is our first episode, so we're pretty excited. And we wanted to do this because we spend an awful lot of time in our careers looking at various different restaurant menus, and there is so much innovation happening out there right now. So we wanted to use this opportunity each week to kind of share some of the best practices and the innovations and some of the kind of quirky odd things we see along the way as well.
Yeah, so super exciting. This week we're going to be doing
Hopdoddy.
Hopdoddy.
That's right.
Now, before we get started, if you like our videos and find them insightful, please like and subscribe the video below. It helps the channel out and we'd greatly appreciate it.
That's right. So Hopdoddy. So we both live in Austin, Texas, despite the accent. And Hopdoddy is actually one of our favourite places to go out and grab a bite to eat. So we wanted to use them as our first, as the first restaurant we're showcasing. And Hopdoddy is founded in Austin by four buddies in and around 2010. And they basically wanted to create this place where it was like a real adult location to go and grab a beer and a burger. That's the whole kind of concept there. And they've gone from strength to strength. They actually got some private equity funding about 10 years ago now, and they're now around 46 restaurants, mostly in the region. And one interesting thing about them, Matt, don't know if you know this.
What's that?
What does Hopdoddy mean?
Hopdoddy. Well, hop for beer. Doddy. I don't know. It just sounds like daddy.
Well, Matt, a doddy is apparently the name for a black Angus cattle.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. So
Who
hop
knew?
and the doddy, it's beer and it's cow smashed together.
Perfect.
Awesome, and we love it. So how we go through this when we look at menus is we kind of take like three broad areas we want to check out. So one is the aesthetics of that menu. So what's the kind of design look like, the kind of positioning of items and things like that, getting into kind of the psychology of the consumer, which is really important. The second is then the composition of that menu, by which we mean which items have they decided to put on that menu and how many of them might be on there. We look at the pricing as part of this as well and touch on ingredients too. And then the last thing that's really important for any restaurant brand is execution. So you've designed this great menu, but you have to deliver that to your guests day in, day out, often across many, many, many locations. So there's a lot of really important considerations that go into the menu design that have an impact on how the business runs. So we're going to take you through the Hopdoddy menu through the eyes of the ACE way of looking at things.
So, George, starting out, what jumps out at you from this menu?
One of the things I love about this menu is its personality. And they've done this through using a very smart application of different typographies and iconography. So I'll give you some examples here. So if I zoom in over here, you're going to be able to see each of the different burgers has got a different typeface to their title. And that really helps to kind of give you a different personality to each of those. It's quite daring, really, to use all like so many different fonts in one menu, but they've managed to do this in a way that's really eye-catching, engaging, and even included some cool little random letters like the El Diablo has got an A with a fire on it, and they use this little fire emoji there as well as part of some of the dishes. So that's a really cool thing that I absolutely love. The iconography extends even further to, if we look down here at the shakes, they even show you on top of your shake, on the little shake icon, you're going to get lots of cream.
There we go.
Yeah, lots of yummy cream of different sizes. So that's probably the first thing to call out, is just how they've managed to use iconography. I think shakes actually was an area you wanted to pick up on, that.
Yeah, well, let's jump into both of those and the psychology behind it a little bit. So if we look at just the menu as a whole starting out, sometimes guests could feel that when everything is listed out and it's the same font and it's not broken up, it feels like you're reading a really, really long list. So the different fonts kind of breaks the menu up really nicely and draws the eye in different ways, so you don't feel like you're kind of reading a novel. What's really nice as well is if you actually look at the categories, they're all kind of labeled in green to break that up as well. So it kind of just gives you a really easy way as a guest to filter down, like, okay, what do I want to look at? Do I want to start with the burgers? Do I want to start with the chicken? Do I kind of have an idea of what I want and then want to filter down from there? Looking at the kind of little logos that George was talking about, sometimes using pictures in the menu, if you have like lots of pictures everywhere, sometimes it actually cheapens the value perception a little bit. But what you can still do is provide these really great visual cues to draw the eye in to say, hey, this is something that you should be looking at, particularly if there's different sizes like there are for the milkshakes. As well in the margaritas, there's the use of some of those logos as well. Like you could get a really, really big chalice, and if you look around the restaurant and see a couple of them, they're quite big and make you wanna order them. So just some really smart, subtle visual cues to draw the eye from the guest to that part of the page.
And I think we wanted to talk about shakes in particular, because if you look at this whole menu, it's probably the most visual devices to draw someone in of any menu category on here. They really want you to have a shake, and if you ever go there, you should, because they're awesome. And so you got both a photograph, you have got the iconography, and you've got this really big call to action down the bottom here to make your shake boozy. And I really like the way they've done this boozy shake, because it effectively takes what was 5 menu items, and they've got a various combination of different boozy you can make. So really, with those different combinations, loads of different tastes and that you can create for yourself on there.
Yeah, so I mean, a big reason is because it is a great cross-sell opportunity, right? It's burgers and shakes are classic, but if you'll notice on this menu, there's actually no desserts on the menu, so it is the only sweet offering that you can get at Hopdoddy. So not only does it serve as kind of something to buy alongside your burger, it is walk up at the counter. You could order at the bar, but you want to place your order kind of all in one go. So the shakes are a really big standout, so that you're already thinking about dessert if you want it, or if you want the shake next to your burger, have it at the same time. That's kind of an option too.
And probably just to finish up on the aesthetics point here, Matt, you know, if you're looking at this menu, I kind of feel like it's almost, if it went one step further in business, it would be too much. But just like getting the right amount of salt in a dish.
Yeah, you have to season the dish until one more grain.
One more grain.
That's it.
And I think they've absolutely nailed that on this. It's got personality. And one of the ways that they've done this is, to make this work, is rather than having a long list, they've really given breathing space to each of the key menu items by using that big title and then a descriptor, a few lines of description. So to the eye, it doesn't feel like a big long list intense. It's kind of, it gives each dish kind of their own place and space, and you don't get overwhelmed by it. So I think it's a really smart piece of menu design they've done on there.
So the psychology behind that is what's called the rule of 7. So within any menu category, you want to have no more than 7 dishes, ideally 5 or 6, because that's when you start to get kind of fatigue from reading all the different options, and potentially buyer's remorse, because there's too many options for your guests to choose from. They might think, oh, like, what if I got that one? Would I have liked it better? So keeping it under 7 is just kind of general rule of thumb, and they've done it to a T here. So
great. So moving on to composition. So that's where we want to look at things like pricing, the selection of ingredients, like the weighting within different menu categories. I think one of the things on here we wanted to call out was the pricing generally, and in particular the kind of the breadth of pricing from the basic to the premium in each of these categories.
Yeah, so the way that they price their menu is really interesting. There's some burger bars will actually price the menu. You get your burger and your fries are included. It's all kind of one comboed price. So what they've done is they've actually broken it out, and when you order your burger and you think about, oh, I want some fries, you immediately go to the Friends of Burgers section, and you'll notice actually the shareable large format bowls are right at the top, and then if you just wanted an individual side, that's at the bottom. But you can't get the individual side for all of them. So I love truffle. So the truffle fries, if I see that, my mind's made up. I have to have that big bowl. That is a really big upsell opportunity, and it's at the top of that section too. So your eyes are immediately drawn to it. So yeah, really really smart how they broke that out to add to average check. One more thing that they've done as well, if you want to move to the bottom of the burger section, is having the ability to upgrade your burger to grass-fed, pasture-raised meats. So premiumization of the product gives you some transparency in terms of the supply chain, which is really, really big for Gen Z right now. So some really, really smart ways that they've created some upsell and cross-sell opportunities just from their pricing.
I love this concept because it's the kind of thing would normally be reserved for a premium restaurant where they actually brand their meat, so chickens from, Bretherton Farm, for example. And so the fact that it's here and they're using Force of Nature, which is a brand that people associate as a premium meat brand you can get in a lot of the grocery stores here. Mm-hmm. So people are associating that premium brand with then into these burgers, and the fact you can just swap it in for actually a relatively modest price, I must say. $2 is not a lot to go premium on the burger there. My wife loves these, and that's one of the reasons she keeps coming back to Hopdoddy actually. So it's a great use of kind of making a basic item into more premium. So I expect we'll start to see more of that as kind of these farms start to get their own brand out there in the market, which isn't what you're used to with farms. So
yeah,
a trend.
And definitely for a group of this size, really interesting to see this. This is something right out of the fine dining playbook where kind of every vegetable is sometimes you see the farm listed next to it, or on the back of the menu you might see the list of all the farms that they get their products from. Very rare in a group of this size do you see this type of transparency, so that's pretty cool.
And then one other element we wanted to talk about on the composition was the cocktails and margaritas, which, compared to the beer, they get an awful lot of space on there. Quite rightly so. They're higher margin products, so they're trying to draw your eye to those as much as possible. And one of the points, again, back to these categories, is if you see here, they've actually got 9 cocktails, 4 of them being margaritas. We've got a margarita menu, just to, again, give a bit more space to the eye and to really draw attention and give each one their own kind of personality.
Yeah, so I mean, smart how they did this here. They have a bunch of beers that you can order at the restaurant, but again, higher margins are cocktails and margaritas, but beers are pretty standard, right? It's brewed at the brewery, shipped to a bunch of different restaurants. Cocktails are where the restaurant's personality could come out, and because of that, guests tend to give brand-specific cocktails a little bit more time of day in terms of reading the menu to see if there's something interesting there that kind of catches their eye. Usually there's a couple of different flavor profiles that they're looking for, or maybe some fun ingredients in there. Lots of different ways that you could leverage your cocktail list to get that drink upsell instead of beer or wine, which is a little more standardized.
Awesome. So that's overall some points around the composition of this menu. Now, Matt, we're going to talk about execution. So all good. They've created this fantastic looking menu. We've talked about the composition of it and the visual design, but they've got to deliver on it. Mm-hmm. And so, a complicated menu comes with a lot of challenges operationally to actually make sure you can consistently give your guests that same experience. I mean, especially when you have 45 restaurants. So Matt, when you look at this menu, does it tell you some of the things that they've been considering when you look at the menu design, some of the operational considerations that have been drivers of some decision making here.
Yeah, definitely. Burgers are a really interesting category in this space because sometimes it's very high customization, which can increase the complexity of the menu. But they do some really smart things around ingredient cross-utilization. Like there's bacon on a lot of the burgers and menu items. There's caramelized onions on a lot of those as well. So you could use that same ingredient that you're prepped in multiple places with other ingredients to create unique flavor combinations. That being said, there's kind of just the right amount of variety in here. There's some of these kind of burgers and sandwiches that have their own flavor profiles completely, that actually draws in a guest who's looking for that distinct flavor profile. The kind of science behind this is from a turf analysis. It's total unduplicated reach and frequency. Very, very popular in the retail space. So like in grocery stores and that type of thing for the large brands and vendors in that space to determine how many flavors of ice cream or yogurt should they have, what kind of variety in terms of sizes. Will this drive more people to try the product, or will it just cannibalize the sales of people who are buying the product already? So it looks like they've applied some of that methodology here, and they have a really, really nice spread of flavor profiles, but also ingredient cross-utilization to minimize that complexity where possible. But one thing that they did do to, again, increase customization without increasing complexity that much is the salads and bowls.
Oh, let's talk about the salads, because this is smart. This is really clever, because when looking at adding salads, I think I'm right in saying you're probably going to have a different area of the kitchen or a different kind of station making that. So you've added some complexity there just by doing that. But if you look closely at these salads here, they've actually pretty much mimicked the burgers. So they're using very similar ingredients, like the shroom bowl to the shroom burger, and same with the thunder bowl to one of the other burgers. They're using very similar ingredients to bring that complexity level down again, right?
Well, and the part highlighted in green is you could actually make any burger into a bowl, but they've given you a couple of ideas with the Thunder Bowl and the Shroom Bowl as to these are the ones that we recommend you do that with, though. So one interesting use of color, actually, that we haven't really spoken about yet is use of the color green. So even though it is within the Hopdoddy branding itself, they chose to call out making the burger into a bowl with this kind of green call out on the menu instead of just circling it like you might see in some other parts of the menu. One of the reasons behind this is because green evokes health. It evokes kind of natural ingredients, and anyone who's looking for a healthier option on the menu, if they see some green, their eyes are going to automatically go there.
So this is one quirk about this menu, actually, because to that point, when I come over here to the Parmesan truffle fries coming in at 1,560 calories.
Yeah,
that's not the item on the menu I associate with the most healthy. Absolutely delicious, but not healthy. And yet they have this heart icon next to it where it's green. Any idea why this one would be green?
I feel like that one might just be the branding, but the heart is because it's an absolute favorite. I know I order that almost every single time that I go there.
Nice.
So
we'll give that a heart then. Okay, cool. Well, is there anything else here? Just general thoughts on the on the operations, the execution of this menu you'd want to call out?
No, I mean it's a good variety without being too complex. Good amount of customization. There are basically endless flavor combinations here without putting a million things on the menu. So, they've fit it somehow onto just 2 pages, so front and back. They've broken their menu up in very smart ways, and I think it's part of the reason why they're as successful as they are and growing as quickly as they are is because of smart menu design.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you, Matt. And so next week, we're going to be doing another brand.
We are.
We don't know who it is yet. So if you would like that brand to be your brand, post in the comments, or if you know a restaurant brand or you think one that would be really interesting for us to cover in this way, just post and let us know and we will consider that. No guarantees. Okay, I think that's all for today.
I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
Thanks for listening.